Before we get started, please take the time to like, add, and subscribe to our pages on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and iTunes. Also, please leave us a review.
If anything, I would call it an overrated park because people say, "Oh my God, look at this beautiful waterfall" in their photos, and you see that on these travel pages and travel channels and all that, and you're like, "Well, it's a stop off the interstate," and
you can go to the top.
Well, if you do, but the 9 times out of 10,
we can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility? Clink. How are we doing today?
I'm fantastic, man, and I hope our wanderers are doing great as well. We just got dumped on some snow. We recorded our last episode, and then we're talking about how nice and sunny and warm it is, and then all of a sudden we get dumped on like 8 inches of snow in April. So, like, dang.
Yeah, it's climate change is real. It's affecting the weather. I mean, it's snowing here where I am. It's the first time I've ever experienced this bipolar weather, and I gotta say, it's bullshit. You should probably move.
Oh, it's terrible. That's just living in Montana. You don't know what you're going to get, when you're going to get it. You can't really plan much, because I'm packing, I'm getting my house ready, I'm getting things ready to go on a trip out to Oregon to come see you, because we got some good things planned coming up. But I am just like, oh man, I don't want to take the Jeep. I want to take my Honda. I want to save gas. I don't want to, just all the little things that are coming together, and you're just like, it was 70 degrees last week. Now it's, going to be 5 and snowing, and oh my God.
You need to take your Jeep now because of that much snow?
No, what is nice is the interstates and whatnot are getting plowed, and they're getting kind of ready, easier to drive on. And it wasn't too cold when this hit originally, so like a lot of the snow kind of like that hit roads that was plowed has kind of melted, so like that's good. And it's basically from like Livingston onward west or onward east, so the more eastern Montana actually got more snow. So going past Bozeman, to Missoula, to Idaho, to Washington, to Oregon, I should be fine. And then coming home, I should be fine. But you never know. You'll have to see. At least I have a lot of mileage on roads like this, so I have the experience.
That's true. I just wasn't sure, but yeah, it makes sense now that it probably isn't snow all the way to like Spokane. So
yeah, I mean, I've dealt with that before too. So
yeah, I no doubt. I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be honestly snow all the way until like Tri-Cities.
It was, remember, so over Christmas when I came over there and it snowed over Christmas in the Portland and Oregon area, I actually did not deal with snow. Like, I dealt with snow all the way home to Billings from Oregon. And I was like, are you kidding me? The whole way.
That's a fluke though, to get it from Portland all the way. That was just a big snowstorm.
Yeah, well, I was in it, and then I'm used to it.
I mean, I was driving from the top of Oregon to the bottom of Oregon that same day. I just took the coast where I knew there wasn't going to be like any snow.
No, that's a smart move to do. And I was even talking to my dad because they're close enough to the Willamette River and they're low enough in elevation where they don't really get snow. They get, but I told him that. I said, the nice thing about water is water's a little bit warmer sometimes. So you won't get the snow as heavy or as much near that. So not dealing with plowing your driveway or roads as much.
Yeah, water's warm. That's why the coast doesn't get it, because they have this huge body of water and it has a high, I think it's called heat index, but it takes a lot of energy to change the temperature of water. So like, when it gets fucking cold on the next to the ocean, that means it's really fucking cold in reality.
Well, look up in Alaska and what it takes to freeze those rivers and even the ocean out there. Sometimes the ocean will freeze before the rivers, or, you have these other like issues that it's like, no, it's just thin ice because that water is moving. That water it isn't as thick, and you can,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's nuts. I'm curious, because we're talking, this episode comes out. Me and you are going to be meeting up, and we're probably going to be going somewhere in Oregon.
I hope so, because I mean, I said we were getting snow, so I don't know what it's done to the roads. I mean, we talked about Crater, and I know Crater probably has snow, so I don't know what it will do for us in terms of Crater. But nice part with where I'm at here, worst case scenario, which isn't really that much of a worst case scenario, we hop on over to see the redwoods, because that's probably only a 2-hour drive. You can hit the redwood trees.
Oh wow, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, and I think Crater's like maybe an hour drive, so it's just like twice as long to the redwoods, or if Crater works out type deal.
Yeah, or even the coast. You never know. There's a lot of cool little stops around around the state of Oregon. Really, we talk about that in some of our other episodes. With the like Central Oregon breakdown, the Oregon coast breakdown. The Crater Lassen Redwoods loop. All that fun stuff, fun jazz that we got going on. I'm super stoked to see what we come up with, because that's exactly it. We're depending this trip kind of based on the weather and how that weather.
Well, I think it's more roads when it comes down to it.
No, that makes sense, but that's weather.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if it's beautiful, sunny, that's good weather, but the roads may be bad still because of this winter storm we're getting.
Well, and that makes sense, because I mean, just looking at the parks, take Yellowstone Park, for example. April is their like road maintenance kind of plow, get the park ready for May. So there'll be times where, like in March, like this year, you can go from a Mammoth down to a West Yellowstone because they opened up that road. But in April, they usually close it down to get it ready for the park. And a lot of those roads are that way. So it makes sense, because it's just schedule, right? People are just like, oh, May, Labor Day, Memorial Day, let's plow, let's close, let's do this. It's just easy to stick to a schedule, rather than fight the weather, because, yeah, exactly. There'll be days like today where, you might be like, wow, the Beartooth Pass could be open up in the winter, and then you get snow where it's like, wow, Billings got 12 inches. I wonder how much snow Beartooth's got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. So no, it'll be a good time. We'll figure there'll be something. I mean, that's, it's pretty easy to find something to do around here. There's plenty.
Exactly. And for the wanderers listening, like, definitely this is your chance, because if you're listening live as this comes out on Wednesday, the Wandering Wednesdays, make sure to follow us on the stories, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, to see what is going on, what is happening live as we're doing it, because you'll see that change happen instantly before we talk about it here on the podcast. I'm super stoked, because today's episode, we're talking about underrated things. And I think Oregon is a state full of underrated things. So regardless if we go to Crater Lake or not, we will find something cool, and we'll find something to talk about and show you guys and share with you guys,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think Oregon was underrated. I think it is now rated. People have figured out what Oregon has. That's why there's so many more people here.
Yeah, but I think there's some underrated aspects. You look at,
to be fair, Southern Oregon is probably underrated, because there's not as many people in Southern Oregon as like near Portland.
Oh, exactly, and that's why we'll be there. But that's why, like, I wouldn't consider like a Multnomah Falls an underrated park, because of its location and where it's at. If anything, I'd call it an overrated park, because people say, oh my God, look at this beautiful waterfall in their photos. And you see that on these travel pages and travel channels and all that. And you're like, well, it's a stop off the interstate, and
you can go to the top.
Well, if you do, but the 9 times out of 10, the one photo you see is the one it took you 5 steps from your car to take.
Well, no, the parking lot, you got to go underneath the little tunnel thing. It's like 50 steps. All right. Give the people their credit.
Exactly. But everyone and their grandma has that photo. No, if they've seen Multnomah Falls. But then you got places like Silver Falls State Park, which I think is a little more underrated because not a lot of people go there. You have a lot of those coastal parks there in Oregon that are underrated.
Silver Falls is actually one of the more popular parks.
I think that's because it's proximity to Portland and Salem.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff around Silver Falls, like Albeca Falls is around, which that's a really cool waterfall that's underrated. So, I mean, the park, it's Silver Falls is properly rated. The other stuff around it is probably more underrated because it's, everyone goes Silver Falls because you can get like 7 waterfalls all in one park. Rightfully so, it's pretty dope. But you can see some other cool shit elsewhere too.
Exactly. And that's kind of, I mean, I don't know about you, but if you're ready to get into this thing, I'm kind of excited to talk about my top 5 underrated parks, just because when we talked about this the last time we recorded an episode, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just write them down right now, write down some ones I'm thinking of, and these are just, I look at those small parks I've been to where I've had a really great, amazing time, or I want to share them because I think they're worthy of something more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I determine my list. And I'm super excited to talk to you about it today because it's going to be a surprise for both of us.
Yeah, it is. I didn't really think small parks for much, although I'm probably going to let you go first because I may switch up, because if we go with small parks, I may add a couple, move around some things here real quick. But but yes, before we start, we are doing another Wandering Ways top 5. We're doing our top 5 underrated parks. So these are parks that we think don't get the justice that they deserve.
Yeah.
So we'll start with number 5 with my guy.
And to start off slowly, I said they're small, not, 2 of them aren't really that small. But these are these underrated parks that you guys may have never heard of, may only have heard 1 or 2 things about. But I'm sure if you listen to the podcast, you know a thing or 2 about them because I'm sure we brought them up. But I'm gonna go number 5, and that's going to stick here to my home state of Montana, and about 45 miles south of Billings, Montana, there's a place called Chief Plenty Coups State Park. And it's in the town of Pryor, Montana, right on the Crow Reservation. And this state park, there's really not much there. What it is Chief Plenty Coups, who was a Crow leader back in the day. He donated his house when he passed away to the Montana State Parks. And one of his famous quotes is, we cannot be like the white man unless we're educated like the white man. Basically meaning we need to go get educated because that's how we're going to be equal. He was a very good visionary. He had some not dreams, but where you're out meditating, out praying, and he's seen some visions of the bison actually turning to cattle. He had other visions that they talk about at the state park, as well as the Crow tribal history that you have at the state park. So there's a good amount of land that they have there. There is some walking trails. There is his house. There is his teepee not his actual teepee, but a teepee that would be like his outside the house. And that's actually where he slept until the last few years of his life, because during those last few years, he actually slept on a bed inside the house. But up until then, he slept in the teepee. You go through his family life, you see these things. They have the big event in the fall. They usually do a buffalo bake where they actually cook the buffalo in a traditional way, where they put it into the earth. They build this mound and have the hot rocks and cook the buffalo. It tastes so good. Matt Buddy actually was able to go to that when I worked that event one day, and it was really fun. And then they have other events like cross country meets and stuff that they do down there all the time. But definitely one of those parks that is, that wasn't the first time I worked down there. I worked down there a different time as just like a volunteer ranger when I was working for the BLM. And I think we maybe had 4 or 5 visitors in one day.
Oh,
so yeah, you don't get a lot. Plus people are afraid to go to the reservation. And, that's some stigma and some bad juju we need to get rid of, because we need to support our tribal communities. And truth be told, I think that's one of the cheapest places you can buy a Pendleton blanket in the state of Montana. They have really cheap Pendleton blankets. So
there you go. If you're not going to go for the nature, at least go for the Pendleton blanket.
Exactly. No, I like it a lot. And you're right down there near the Bighorn and Pryor Mountains, which are just gorgeous. So
nice. No, that's a good one. My number 5 is a state park, and it is a state park here in the state of Oregon. It's a hometown one. We've probably heard me talk about this before back in the early days of the podcast, but it is Fort Stevens. Ooh. Up all the way, literally at the corner of the state of Oregon, where the Columbia River and the Pacific Ocean meet. So it's historical. It's used to be an old World War II base where people, rumor is that it's one of the only spots that got shot on the lower 48 front during World War II.
Well, what's that story?
I don't know the full story. That's just all they ever tell us is
who shot.
I don't know, the bad guys.
The bad guys or the good guys shot it themselves?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's I don't know. I doubt it, but you never really know. But yeah, no, there's a jetty out there. The Peter Iredale, which is a shipwreck, is in this state park, which is super cool. It's great. It's a great place to go. Biking, go hiking. You can check out the old fort kind of deal. They do Civil War reenactments there. It is a really, really, really good place to go mushrooming. And rumor has it, I'm not going to confirm nor deny this next statement, but it is one of the best places to find wild psilocybin mushrooms.
Oh, those kind.
No, other kinds too. But the rumor is, not going to confirm nor deny, you can find psilocybin mushrooms at this state park. So, I mean, there's a lot to do there. It is also like right next to one of the largest KOAs. So
KOA.
lakes.
KOA is building new headquarters here in Billings.
Oh, yeah, because isn't it founded in that area or something?
Yeah, they were founded in, and they're still headquartered here, but they're building their new headquarters nice. This year. Yeah. But if they're building new headquarters, that must mean they're going to upgrade some of their campgrounds, let's hope, right?
It is a nice campground.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, I've never stayed in it. I showered in it once, but I've never stayed in it. I can't remember why I showered there. But it's a nicer one of the KOAs. It'd be similar to the one we stayed with at Glacier.
That makes sense. Just larger, more options, more, they have the pool, they have the hot tub, they have the arcade kind of BS.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's a great area. You're right there in the Pacific Northwest. It is a kind of a cool spot. I know people that go duck hunting out in that area. Fishing's popular in that area.
When you're close to Astoria Seaside, which is very touristy, Cannon Beach, Cannon Rock, and then even Fort Clatsop is right there too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's Fort Clatsop. There's Cape Disappointment. You know, there's the Saltworks, the Lewis and Clark kind of histories in that area. So there's a lot to do, and it's honestly a good camping base if you wanted to just check out that area. But yeah, my number 5 is Fort Stevens.
That ain't a bad one. That ain't a bad one for sure. I've never been, so maybe one of these days when I'm up in that area, I need to go check out Fort Stevens. I've checked out Fort Clatsop, so definitely got to go see these underrated parks. My number 4, in this one, I have like 2 for this one because they're very similar. Okay. And the reason for that is one is Serpent Mound out in Ohio, and the other one is Effigy Mounds in Iowa. And that one's right on the Mississippi River right there in Iowa. And these are the mound building tribes. They have the burial grounds where they have these mounds where they would put their dead bodies and build these cool mounds. So yeah, Effigy Mounds in Iowa, what they did is they built those mounds like animals. And some of the mounds have rocks around them, so you can see them. Some of them are different colors. Other ones are just mounds of grass, so you have to really see it from the sky. But when you're walking by it, these things are huge. You're like, oh my God, like these are nuts. And it's in a really pretty cool area along the Mississippi River. They have a good visitor center. We didn't even go see like the coolest of the mounds either there. We just went and saw like the most that you could on like one trail, because there's other ones around the area you need to, it'll take a little bit longer to go to, and we were kind of on a tight schedule. But that is a park I definitely want to actually get back into a little bit more, just because of what it does have to offer with the native histories. Same with Serpent Mound in Ohio. It's not national park run like Effigy Mounds is, but Serpent Mound, what's really cool about, I want to say it's privately owned, if not state park, but I want to say it's a private park. Just kind of based on like the flyers, or maybe it's county or something like that. But when I went, there's other mounds in the area, which is kind of cool. And then you have the main Serpent Mound, which is huge. And I don't believe that there's any bodies in the Serpent Mound itself. But each bend of the snake, because the serpent snake, is it points to like the summer equinox, the winter equinox, the spring, the solstices, all that, right? You have, and then the head and how they open up, and then there's this tower there you can walk up and actually look down on it and see it. So it's actually really cool to see it from that bird's eye view. Again, not a whole lot going on at the park itself, other than like the mound, the visitor center. There was a little mini powwow that was going on when I was there, and I was kind of like not really about it, just because there was like 6 dancers and a lot of white people.
Oh.
And I'm used to powwows. I'm used to powwows where there's thousands of people and most of them are native.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see. I'm glad I was able to go there. It's definitely an underrated park, and I wish, especially with these native ones, that people actually go visit them and help generate some funds and turn them into these parks for what they could be, and talk about the tribes, the tribal histories, and whatnot. Because I think about that. I think about Gathering of Nations, which is coming up here at the end of this month, of April. And that's going to be the largest powwow down in Albuquerque. That's happening. So if you're down in that area, that's something to go check out. It's not necessarily a park. It's going to happen there at the fairgrounds. So, but it's going to be cool. And me and Matt Buddy might be there. We just have to see if work approves the travel or not. So might be fun. Might be fun to check out. But definitely go check out these native events and support these tribes, and go to Serpent Mound and Effigy Mounds.
There you go. There you go. Go support the tribes. My number 4, it is of the Cascade of the northern kind of Cascade mountain ranges. Mine is probably one of the more unpopular one to go and visit. It's one that you hear a lot in names. You've heard it before. We've talked about it before. Hell shit, I even climbed it. It is Mount St. Helens.
You know, and I think why this one falls as underrated is because like half of it's gone now.
Yeah, I mean that very well could be the reasoning. You know, it's just half as good as it used to be.
Right.
Well, I think the main reason it's not as popular is because you have a Rainier, you have a North Cascades, you have a Mount Hood, all within distance of it, and so you'll be like, why would I go to Mount St. Helens when I could go to Mount Rainier or I could go to Mount Hood?
Well, and you're exactly right, because you look at like the bases where, well, Portland, well, Hood is closer. Well, Seattle, Rainier is closer. So that was kind of in the middle. And that's what makes it cool, makes it underrated, and why you chose it, why you hiked it, why you love it.
Exactly. No, there's a lot of cool stuff. I mean, Vince, Phil, and I stayed in a campground close by that area, or in the St. Helens area, because we originally were like, oh, let's climb it. We have a day, but turned out you need a permit, and we missed that permit day because we did a last minute. But that was whatever. We found stuff to do, but it's a really cool kind of area to go and check out, and it's a great mountain to climb, especially if you're new into mountain climbing. You just got to get a permit. I believe the permit date's passed. It's usually like end of February, so if you're listening to this and want to, might still be able to get one. I don't know, you'd have to go look, but I think usually the permits are filled up by this time. I have a hilarious story when we were camping. It was Vince and Phil. They slept in the tent pretty much the whole trip that we did. And then I slept in my hammock like I do now. And the campground we had, or the campsite we had, I could hang my hammock actually pretty high off the ground. And there's like a stump like right below me. And I decided to take a nap. I think I was reading, and then I decided to take a nap in my hammock, and I'm just chilling there, and a squirrel goes right on the stump that's literally below me. So like me hanging, I'm maybe a foot away from this chipmunk or squirrel or something, and it lets out a call. It's like little dee, really loud. Scared the shit out of me.
Well, I bet it did.
I was like, I'm in my hammock. I'm like, what the fuck? Flinging around. And Vince and Phil were like, what's happened? And I was like, there's a damn squirrel or something right below me.
That's funny. That's like those birds in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, the ones that woke us up.
Well, we had that one chipmunk in Glacier when we saw that grizzly bear that was chirping at us to like warn us that the grizzly bear was coming.
Yeah. They're noisy. They can be loud when they want to.
Oh, yes, they can. Out in eastern Montana, when you're prairie dog kind of chasing, shooting at the ground, what are they called? Gophers or prairie dogs? That's kind of the two terms you hear kind of for the same. There's similar animals. They are different. There is a difference between the two, but either or, I don't think you really realize the difference until you actually get one. Just because of how small they are and how just often you see them. But yeah, when you're seeing them hunting, you hear them chirping, they see you, for sure. They're letting everyone know you're around.
For sure. No, but Mount St. Helens, it's a great place. You should check it out. It's one of the more underrated places in that area. There's just a lot of cool shit to check out there. And so I was kind of thinking of getting into sport fishing again, but I feel like I need a good quality net.
Well, you know what, Reverend? I got the key solution for you. Our friends at Blue Ribbon Net make this eco-friendly aquafade bag, so you're not hurting the environment. It's 100% biodegradable. Plus, The wood is locally sourced and it is also biodegradable, and it's just such a great company to use. The Blue Ribbon Nets, they're here in Bozeman, Montana, and we even have a discount code. That's right. If you use the code Rougarou10, that's right. That's my Jeep, the Rougarou. Rougarou10, RUGARU10. You're going to get some discount on a Blue Ribbon net. You know, you can get the long one if you're fishing the big fish, or you can get just the good river one, you know, if you're like me and just want to catch a lot of fish.
So again, make sure you go check out Blue Ribbon and use the promo code Rougarou10.
Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You know, you use the code Wandering Ways, WANDERING WAYS, and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount.
Speaking of cool shit, it's time for cool shit in nature.
Nice. Your favorite segment.
Oh, 100%. I get to share cool shit that I see in nature. So first one, I think it fits perfectly in where we are at right now, because we're talking about Mount St. Helens. And what is Mount St. Helens most famous for?
Blowing up.
Exactly. So we got a good old fashioned volcano eruption.
When did this one? 17 days ago it blew up?
Yeah, it was in the Philippines, I believe.
Wow.
But yeah, this is another classic volcano eruption. It's small. It's a pretty small one. But I mean, the fact that that is considered like a really small one is still impressive.
Oh, exactly. I mean, it's not blowing up a whole island and changing the world in that sense, but it still is changing the world. It's part of that.
Oh, 100%. You know, ash is going into the air. You know, things, the earth is moving.
Well, and that's the thing with volcanoes, and I'm kind of glad you did this right after Mount St. Helens, is because we really don't realize the power of volcano or earthquake or these events that happen in seconds, you know, how much they really can change the earth. You know, think of Yellowstone. When Yellowstone goes, you know, not only is it going to just blow up and kill everything like around it, but it's going to throw ash up into the air, which could possibly send the entire world into like a nuclear winter.
Yeah.
So just the power that these things have that we just kind of I wouldn't say take for granted, because we don't necessarily understand it, but we just kind of let it be.
For sure. You know what's also kind of crazy to watch when you're like watching this, because the video's taken from a good distance away. I would say a very safe distance. So kudos to the person taking it, practicing safe volcano watching. But you see the ash like go up and then kind of fall, and it looks slow from this distance, but in reality that's happening quick, and it's very powerful.
Well, that's just how much of it is. It's like water, right? You know, you see the waterfall move and how the water kind of changes as it goes over, but it like looks the same and looks different. It's something that it's hard for us to comprehend.
Yeah.
Especially like that. Like it looks like in the Philippines, it looks like it's over on another island almost from where this camera angle is happening. And like that's exactly it. It looks slow, but if you're sitting under that thing's moving so quick and it's moving in all directions. That's the other thing is we're looking at this on a 2D form when it's moving in a 3D, 4D form. You know what I mean?
I don't know if it's really puncturing time, but
well, the reason I say 4D is because you can feel the ash.
Yeah. But so here is our next one that we have. And this is just an adorable little cute little kitten. Taken, I believe it's a I want to say cheetah.
It looks cheetah-ish
or leopard. Cheetah
by the
or
spots, but
yeah.
I can't tell. They say it's in South Africa.
Yeah, that's all we have info
At the Male Mala Game Reserve.
Oh,
which looks kind of cool. Just a cute little kitten.
Yeah, it's a good little palate refresher, let you know that these things are adorable, but also not too long the thing will be big enough to kill you.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm excited for. I was kind of interested, we went into Yellowstone Park with Marco Fantini, and we didn't see many baby animals, even the bison, not quite yet. So they must not be having their babies quite yet. I'm excited. I like that about May when you go into Yellowstone Park in May and you see those little baby animals like that, the baby bears or the baby bison, the baby antelope, whatever it may be. They're cute, they're fun, they're cuddly, and if you want baby bunnies, my mom has baby bunnies, so I'll bring you one down as a gift.
I'm good. I'm gonna pass. I don't need any animals. I get enough people trying to convince me to get a dog, and I'm not getting a dog.
If anything, you'd be a cat guy.
I'm not getting a cat because I'm not a cat guy.
No, you would be a cat guy because you need it. You need it to take care of itself at your house.
Yeah, but I don't want something just to have something. So I don't want something to take care of itself like that. But no, if I was thinking and I'm not, I want to make sure we're clear on this. I'm not getting a dog of any kind. But if I were to get one, I think it'd be an Australian Shepherd.
Of course you would, you basic bitch.
Yeah, I'm pretty basic as fuck.
That's the new corgi.
It is right now.
And it's because they're really popular here in Montana because they were good herding dogs. Yeah. So you have the Shepherd Healer. But yes, the girls have turned it all over. I swear to God, they all have Australian Shepherds because those blue eyes.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more because it can go for a long distance run pretty good. So
they're hyper high energy.
Yeah,
I could see you too with a husky for that same reason, because the husky requires that exercise, and so does Mark.
But yeah. So anyways, let's wander our way on back to our top 5, which is now the top 3 underrated parks. What do we got?
So this is one me and you did together, so you feel free to speak to this one, but my number 3, we're going to go to South Dakota to Wind Cave National Park. Which I honestly, to me, it's one of those ones, why I call it underrated. And I like going to the Black Hills, but exactly, there's so much to do in the Black Hills. You got Mount Rushmore, you got Crazy Horse, you got Jewel Cave, Wind Cave, Custer State Park. You even have Badlands, plus all the fun stuff there is to do in Rapid City and surrounding areas, Devil's Tower. So this one I think it's overlooked due to time, due to Mount Rushmore being all South Dakota seems to claim. and whatnot. And it's just a cool park, there's stuff to do up ground. They have the bison. It's close to Custer State Park, which is another underrated park because not a lot of people know about Custer State Park because they stay pretty focused in the national parks. But again, our states have great parks too. And Wind Cave, again, it was I've been in a few caves. it's one of those interesting ones. I actually ran into some kids in Yellowstone. We were hiking on a trail and we ran into them. We started talking, and Jared was talking to them and became friends with them. And we're talking about different places we've gone and where to go in the state. And we're talking about the Beartooth Pass. And the kids like, "You ever been to Wind Cave?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." He goes, "Yeah, they have the box etchings on the ceiling and then this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, did the tour guide blow the candle out for you too?" And you're just like, "Oh God, this would be so scary if this place was just like that's it. That's how they used to cave, with candles and ropes."
Yeah, no, 100% an underrated park. In fact, I think it's so underrated that it does make my list, but not at number 3.
Oh wow. Wow, that's cool that Wind Cave makes your list too. Just because of what it is, exactly what it is. It's one of those, it is a national park. It, it has the Lakota story of like emergence out of the ground. The people came from the earth. This is where they came from. This is the birth of the Lakota people out of the Black Hills. It's beautiful. The elevator ride you take up from the bottom of the cave and all the stairs you take inside of it, and just even the videos where they show like, yeah, there's parts of this cave where you have to like crawl on your hands and knees because like, yes, it's a little gap, but it opens up into a nice larger room later on, which is crazy with caves.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely like super cool because it's a cave you get to walk through. The different etchings and stuff of the way the cave is formed. The fact that it is so massive, like the amount of distance this cave covers is like incredible. So it's just really like overall a really cool place, and I think we've recommended it before, but I still, again, today I recommend it. The tours are cheap. When it comes to tours, like at places, this is on the cheaper end, and it is 100% worth every penny to go walk around these caves.
I want to go back. That's when there's other caves out there I haven't been to, and this is one I'm like, I want to go back. And it also makes me want to explore other caves. You hear that when you're like, well, I want to go down to Carlsbad Caverns. I want to go to Lewis and Clark Caverns here in the state of Montana, which is a state park, because of that.
If you really want to hit some caves, not far from where I live are the Oregon caves.
Ooh.
We can check out caves if you would like to when you come on down here.
Hey, that one might be just thrown up on the board, throwing spaghetti at the wall, as they say, and see what sticks. And that, if Crater Lake's a no-go, that might be a go.
If we end up not going to Crater Lake, I think we should go to the caves because it's on the way to like the coast. So you can hit 2 birds, 1 stone. So
8 birds, 11 stones. Got it. I missed a couple times.
Exactly. But
you're number 3 guy.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk Wind Cave much more because I'm going to hop back later to it when it makes my list again. Spoiler alert. But no, my number 3, probably people may have heard of it. I really highly doubt it, but it is another one from my hometown area. And it is called Ecola State Park.
E. coli State Park, huh?
Ecola, not E. coli.
I know.
It's a small park for sure. And it's right there on the coast. Between Seaside and Cannon Beach, there's this thing called Tillamook Head, and there's even a lighthouse that's out front. Rumor is it's haunted. But you can, on the Cannon Beach side of it is Ecola State Park. If anyone has seen The Goonies, Ecola State Park is in that movie. At the kind of the beginning when they find the restaurant that has the people, that's in Ecola State Park. It is a beautiful park. Great place to go surfing if you're into surfing. You can hike from Seaside on over Tillamook Head to Ecola State Park. We used to run it when I was playing high school soccer. That was like our workout. We'd run from side to side. It's beautiful trails to hike through around there. it's really pretty and it's highly underrated, probably because it's so small. They get decent amount of people, but like you never hear anybody talk about it. So I'm trying to give it a little pub.
It's on the coast.
Yeah, it's dead on the coast. I mean, the beach is part of the park type deal.
I've never been to that park, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go into Cannon Beach, but when I was playing high school soccer, we had 2 workouts that we would do, like longer runs, and it was from Seaside to Ecola State Park. Or what we would do is we would run the road up to Ecola State Park from Cannon Beach.
Okay.
So you have to be like almost in the town of Cannon Beach. You like, instead of going downtown, you make a turn, and that will take you all the way out there.
Good to know. Hey man, it looks like we got some exploring to do when we're up in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean, that's all the way to the North Oregon coast, so beautiful area though. But yeah, so that is my number 3. So we'll move on to number 2, which is for you.
Take a wild guess. It's here in Montana.
Pompey's.
Oh, this guy knows. And yes, it is very underrated, I think. Especially because there are a lot of hiking trails at this park that go along the Yellowstone River, which is the longest free-flowing river in the lower 48. There's no dams on it. It is a beautiful river. And this rock is, when you look at the river and you look at this area, it is as if it was put on the wrong side of the river. So there's the rims here in Billings. So it's just like a big cliff face that runs alongside. It goes forever. They pretty much start in Park City, Montana. And I would say they go all the way to about Terry, Montana along the river, with valleys and gaps in between. But one of the main gaps on the river is right there at Pompey's Pillar, where the river most likely at one point is it was probably going around that pillar, and then it broke through, and now the pillar's on this side of the river, and there's a valley and cliffs on the other side of the river, but where the valley's where Pompey's Pillar should be. It's a really cool, pretty area. You can see the Bull Mountains, the Bighorn Mountains, and the Beartooth Mountains from here, and that's supposedly the last time William Clark saw the Rocky Mountains in his life, when he went up on top of Pompey's Pillar and made his journal notes and his etchings. He even signed his name on the rock, because that was the thing. A lot of Native Americans had signed their stuff on the rock, and later on in the history, it became a place for people of the railroad, people of the Josephine steam engine or steamboat that went up the Yellowstone River. They signed their name on the rock. Just all sorts of cool travelers, Western people. Just neat stuff there. And the history, it's all about Lewis and Clark, because Clark signed his name there. Lewis was never there. But when Clark signed his name, that's kind of what made that place famous. And the land has been talked about going back and forth between national parks, state land, but ultimately it's been in the control of the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, and they offer great opportunities for, federal working. For me, I worked out there as a native internship during school as a guide and a park ranger, which is really great experience, great opportunity. The thing I like about the BLM as a worker, you're working kind of all of it. So not only was I an interpretive ranger, but I would clean the toilets. I would, get the lawnmower out and cut the grass in places, so we did it all. Plus the big Clark Days event in the summer is something that you have to check out. And just, it's one of those places I'm glad I've worked at in my life. It's really pretty in the summer, in the winter. It's in an interesting spot on the Yellowstone River. And it just gives you a perspective of, what it might have been like 200 years ago. And I love it. And there's a few videos. If you go into the ranger station and you see the videos playing, I want to say there's 2 or 3 videos that I personally did. I don't know if they're still playing them, but for a while there they were. So it's kind of cool.
There you go. Ranger Zach is famous, everybody.
Yeah. No, Pompey's Pillar, it's a good one.
Pompey's Pillar is a cool one. My Number 2, we're coming back to it because it's underrated. It's Wind Cave. Wind Cave makes mine number 2 because it is super underrated. Again, caves are super cool, especially this one. I think they can be scary to go into, so I do understand the hesitancy of not wanting to hop in on these caves because you hear enough mining stories where you're like, I'm not going underground. But this is one to go underground, check it out because it's super cool. It was honestly one of the main highlights of our trip that year.
Really? Which is crazy because that's the 12 parks in 12 days trip. And if you haven't checked out that episode, go check it out. But I'm interested to hear why it was one of your favorites on that trip.
I mean, because it was so unique from everything we've done. And like it was so unexpected, like we went into it, we're like, yeah, we're gonna go check out some caves. But then like we got into the cave and we're like, what? This is wild. So like I think no idea of what we were getting into just elevated it because it was like I had no expectations. And so all the other ones, the 12 parks, roughly some idea of what you're getting into. But this one, it was so different from all the others. So it made it so much more unique.
Well, and I think what's unique too about the cave, and it's something probably we don't even think about or even register, is the lights in these caves, right? I've been in caves where they have the lights for you, like they built them in. I've been in caves like this one where there's parts where there is no lights. It is pretty yeah, you have the steps and the railings and stuff like that, but just the overall aspect of you don't know what you're going to get in a cave. You really don't. They're all different.
They are. That's what's cool about them. But yeah, Wind Cave, check it out. It's my number 2 most underrated park according to me. So that means it's time for our number 1s. Number 1 most underrated park according to Ranger Zach.
Well, my most underrated park, it's a tribal park. It was on that 12 days of 12 parks and 12 days trip we did. And that is Monument Valley Park. The Navajo tribe runs it. It is a really cool park. It's a big park. We joke about small parks at the beginning of the episode, but this one's a little bit bigger. It's going to require a car to drive around. It gives you that John Wayne, Forrest Gump vibe because, that's where it's at. And Monument Valley, it's just spectacular. Seeing those rock formations, understanding the tribal history, understanding the tribal peoples, the meaning of the desert, the symbols in the desert, and just that Arizona, New Mexico desert and these formations, not just Monument Valley itself, but you have like Shiprock, Canyon de Chelly, and other really cool spots in Antelope Canyon, all in this same area on the Navajo reservation. And they kind of have a really good park system for tribal parks. And I definitely suggest supporting them. I always say support the Navajo tribe, support all tribes, because they were hit hard during COVID. These parks were hit hard during COVID because they had to shut them down. And this is one of those ones. I mean, what makes me want to go back there is I want to stay in that hotel. I want to wake up and see Monument Valley at sunrise. I want to go to bed at sunset and see Monument Valley. I just want to experience it in the winter with snow, in the summer when it's 115 degrees, just because it has that just uniqueness to it that I want to just experience it more than just once and different time, experience it differently as well. Because it does have that special feeling when you're there. Seeing the native artists and selling their stuff out of the back of their cars. Very interesting to have and see and support. I'm all for it. I like it. There's something about that area. I think that's also what's pushing me to want to go to Mesa Verde National Park. it's just that desert culture. I don't know if it was me growing up in New Mexico and living there for the first, 10 years of my life, but there's something about the desert that I like.
There you go. I mean, Monument Valley is very cool. I do have to agree there. And it is underrated. I mean, people know about it, but it's still kind of underrated.
Well, we hit it at a really interesting time where that Southwest was getting a lot of water. So there was a lot of green on the ground. And the purple flowers, I remember, were just so beautiful.
Yeah, the cacti. Yeah, no, it's super, super cool. And a highly underrated park. So that's a good number one. My number one, who knows, it might not be underrated, but I think it's underrated because every time I talk about how amazing it is, people are like, yeah, I don't really believe you. And I say it is, you need to go and experience it because it is that amazing. And like once you're in and among them, it's incredible. And it is the Redwoods. Now, they're just they're too cool. These trees are too cool. I talk about trees maybe too much, and people are like, Mark, they're just trees. Like, get a hold of it. And I say, go check these trees out.
I agree with you, though. I do, because the redwoods, they're out there. You hear people talk about them, and they really want to go to them, but I think the logistics behind it is what makes it underrated. People do go to that Redwood Grove by San Francisco, but again, that grove isn't the same as the area I think you're talking about, where the national park and a lot of those state parks are up in the Humboldt County and those areas.
Yeah, no, it isn't. It's different when you're like really in them, because you do feel you feel like you're in Jurassic Park, that second movie where there like could be dinosaurs that pop out, or like you're gonna run into Bigfoot, or you're gonna run into a bunch of elves making fudge. But there's just like there's such a mystery and awe to these trees that you're like, it's just incredible, which is super why I want to go to Sequoia, because I bet that's a similar, I bet it's not as like mystic as like the redwoods are, but I bet there is just something about like being amongst the sequoias that are like insane.
Oh, 100%. That's on my list. I need to go there. Like, I need to go there sooner than later. I just need to make it happen.
It's on my list of places I need to go. I actually almost put it on under my underrated parks, like at number 5, because I was like, it's so underrated. I haven't been there, but I want to go.
But I do think Sequoia and Kings Canyon.
It's a little bit more rated than like the redwoods.
They're very popular, and that's the thing. I think Sequoia is one of those parks where people are like, "Well, I've driven through a tree. I've seen them. I'm good." On the redwoods, like they can pass on the redwoods because of it. And these are different trees, different communities, different experiences. Because I think the one thing I really like about the redwoods too is the fog.
Yeah.
The eeriness that they provide, and that just with the proximity to the ocean, that helps.
No, that is super, super true.
It is a really cool park. You tatted it on your body.
Yeah, I got it right over here. So, but yeah, no, I mean, redwoods, that's my number one, top 5 in the top 5 underrated parks according to us. And it is perfect timing because it's time to be that guy and get to our final words, because it's time for the final words. So, anyways, final words.
All right, guys. I have a question for you guys. I want to hear your top 5 underrated parks, because I'm sure as heck I would love to hear them, because I probably haven't heard of some of them before. I've probably never been to some of them. And those are what is cool about this world we live in. Those parks that we find every day, that are near to home or small or just different or unique in their own ways, that make us as individuals appreciate them. I want to hear that, so go ahead and email us at wanderingwayspodcast@gmail.com, WANDERINGWAYSPODCAST@gmail.com. And I would love to hear, it. Cause I mean, I as we're going through this, I'm thinking of other parks I've been to, Red River Gorge down there in Kentucky. Mammoth Cave was a cool one. There's just, Devil's Tower in Wyoming is really, really unique and cool. There's all these just fun places to go to and check out and see. And they're in our backyards. They really are. And we just have to force ourselves to get up and go. It's me who chooses to sit here on my couch and watch TV, versus me being the one to say, hey, I'm going to put the gas in the car and go there today. And experience this and do that. And I think with traveling, the issue with traveling comes about the cost of traveling sometimes, we're going to have to pay for food. We're going to have to do this. But what's really cool about our parks, especially our national parks, our state parks, any of our publicly owned parks, is they are affordable. Those trips are usually, those tours are cheaper. The campgrounds are cheaper. Yes, they're harder to get. But if you can get them, it all works out and it's fun. And usually these underrated parks, you will be able to get a campground or you will be able to get on a tour because not a lot of people do go to them because that's why they're underrated. So maybe you don't share them with us. No, just kidding. I do really want to hear them. All right, Reverend, I'll pass the mic to you.
Here, let me grab it. Okay. Reverend's final words of wisdom. Stay beautiful, everybody. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you guys out there. Being you, checking out all these different places. Make sure you check out the Teespring, which is in the link below. We got t-shirts down there. We got, look, even Zach's got his on. That's a rare occurrence right there.
Yeah, I got a sweatshirt on. It's cold.
We got all sorts of stuff on the Teespring, so make sure you check it out. It's in the bio below. But just go out there. Earth Day is this Friday for you people listening. We talked a little bit about it last time, but yeah, go out, pick up some trash, do something nice, do some grounding, go, donate to a good cause that helps the earth. We need all the help we can. Earth Day is more important than we think. I understand that this is coming out on 420, so you're probably a little litty right now and you don't know where you are, but go hang out and do Earth Day, enjoy yourself, do something fun for the earth. But that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.